Hello guys, welcome back to Hey Manager with me Alex, and today we're going to go straight back into my FPL Game Week 2 review and how I'm looking for Game Week 3. And from the title of this video you can already tell it's wildcard time. So let's have a look, shall we, at where I am up to. So, it's been a bit of a weird week. 34 total points for me overall, 51 the average. Both weeks now, I've been below the average. As you can see here, out of the 11.2 million players, I am ranked 9.6 million in the world, which is terrible. And that actually puts me now in the overall rank of 7.7 millionth. So, yeah, pathetic really. I'm not even in the top 50%. So, dramatic things have changed. And now, I thought I was going to give it myself 3 weeks. I was thinking about it, do I, don't I? But I think there's too many gaps in my team for me to actually, fix it over another week and a bit, with 2 transfers. I'm not going to be able to do that. So I have pulled the plug on this team. I just don't think it works. And the reason being is, as you can see here, I did go heavy on Brighton. I thought Brighton and Jorginho Rutter had a great start to the season for some strange reason. I know he might have picked up a bit of a knock, but he picked up an assist in the first game, got 6 points. I think he got the clean sheet bonus because he's a midfielder. He was playing as a striker, obviously picked up a knock, and then Welbeck takes his place, which, I mean, if Welbeck hadn't have played, they might have scored the penalty and might have actually got another goal. So it's one of them, but he did not play, so he went onto my bench. Again, Palmer, injured before the start of the game. He goes onto my bench. Not brilliant, but and against West Ham as well. Of all teams, you'd want him to play against West Ham because they are doing terribly, and that leads me on to the likes of Juve, who did pick up an assist but conceded 5, so only got 3 points, was sat on my bench. Fulkrug scored a goal, was disallowed, hooked at 45 minutes. Again, only got me the 1 point, which is terrible. And then that also leads me on to the other team that have been terrible this year in the claret and blue, if you want to call it that. It's Watkins, who unbelievably just hasn't got a goal contribution yet. I mean, should have scored against Brentford, definitely. Played the full 90s. I think they'll probably pick up the form again, but I do not have the time to wait to see if this Aston Villa team are going to pick up form. They've got a nice run of games. Palace is going to be difficult because they're very defensively sound but might be tired. Everton look like they've got a new lease of life, and they're at home, Everton. So, again, the new stadium behind them. Sunderland and Fulham and Burnley, I reckon that's a good time to bring him back in potentially. So I will keep my eyes on him. But for now, Watkins, with the way that Aston Villa look, there's not really that creative link. They had Rodgers, they had Rashford last year. They had the like of Asensio, who was brilliant. I think he was very underrated in that team, bringing the ball forwards. But for now, when you've got the likes of McGinn, Onana, you're playing Kamara in there again, and then you've got Rodgers in there as the 4 in the midfield type situation, and then you're trying to throw in the likes of other players that I just don't think, like Buendia and stuff. I don't think they're world beaters, and they've really regressed this year, it feels like. Defence is okay, I guess. Conceded a decent amount, I think, to Brentford and Newcastle, but yeah, again, they didn't actually concede to Newcastle, let's tell a lie. It was a boring 0-0, but yeah, again, goals conceded, 1 to Brentford, just not fantastic. So yeah, then Marlon, really poor £5.5 million choice. I should have gone for Reinders. I knew it. It's one of them where impulse you thought. And then Bruno Fernandes missing the penalty, got the defensive contributions, but if it had scored the penalty, that would have been me set. I know he's owned by 21% of people, but that would have been a bit of a push forwards. He would have got the 3 bonus points, I'm sure of it. He scored the goal, got his defensive contributions, so that would have been 7, plus the 2 to make it 9, then plus the 3. He probably got 12 points. In the end, he got me 2. So that's minus 10 on the week, which would have pushed me higher in the average, towards the average. Porro's in there. Believe it or not, Burnley defender got me the most points this week. Even Porro couldn't get me there because he got a yellow card. Nico Williams, Forest looked good, but not defensively. They just look like going to concede a lot this year again. And then Brighton have been pathetic. I mean, I thought they might have done something against Everton. I knew their first, Fulham might have been a bit of a difficult one. They did end up conceding, but Fulham, Everton, and then obviously in between that around Bournemouth, I thought for the first 2 game weeks I might have got something out of them, but Maxime de Kuiper has been shocking, absolute shocking. So I've had to change everything up because Verbruggen as well in net has been pathetic. So transfers wise, I'll show you my history, and this is an absolute mess. Because I'm playing my wild card, I've gone, right, who am I going to get in there? I've done my team about 3 or 4 times, as you can see. Did it once here at 11 past 5 on August, then made another change for Yoro. Then again, later on, about an hour later, on the 23rd of August, did it again. Then I did it again, and then I did it later on in the night. Then I did it on the 24th of August, did it again later on in the night. I did it on the 25th of August. Constantly making changes just as the games progressed to see, because as the weekend went on, I was watching a lot of the games thinking who's best for the team. So what I've ended up with is this squad. I hope you can see it. Anyway, let me just double check. You can. So going from the back, we'll always go from the back. Vicario. In fact, I'll do it in the transfer view because it makes it a lot nicer for you to actually see where we're at and how much money I've got left. So, transfer view. We've got Sanchez and Vicario. I wanted to go for 2 decent goalkeepers because I want to be able to guarantee pretty much a pretty decent, a nice enough balance between clean sheets for either team. So Vicario, should I go for him because they're against Bournemouth, but Semenyo's been in good form. Sanchez, do we go for them? I think I might go for the team, Sanchez, sorry, because Fulham look poor. They look really poor, and especially away from home, be a bit of a difference. Then at the back, going to go for Matty Cash. I'm going to stick with him. I think he's a decent buy. Chalobah, I want a Chelsea defender in there, definitely. Crystal Palace, they look like they've got a nice run of games coming up. Obviously, they play Villa, which, again, could just be a boring 0-0. Then Sunderland, West Ham, I think is nice. And then Liverpool, a bit of a different one. And then Everton, but I've only got Chris Richards in there for now. Then I've gone for De Ligt. Now, De Ligt's an interesting one because they do play Burnley, then they have City, then they have Chelsea, Brentford, and then Sunderland. So United have in the next 5 games, you're looking to maybe pick up 2 clean sheets, which I sort of want to go for. And then in the difficult games, like a City, like a Chelsea, where United are going to be on the back foot, they're going to be defending a lot. He's picked up 21 defensive contributions, 10 in one game, 11 in the other, as you can see from the card above me, in 2 matches. So he's actually managed to pick up De Ligt in the end an average of 5.5 points. He's on 11 points, 7 this game week. Considering they still conceded, is decent enough. He picked up all 3 bonus points this week. So he's very high in the ICT index. I think he's really good because he plays that like middle centre-back role, that middle central role where he's allowed to push forward and attack players, but he also covers very well. I think he looks like a spot-on player to get his defensive contributions each week, so I've gone for him. And then obviously Van der Ven. I wanted to find a way into the back line in that team. I think 4.5 is a steal, 4.5 million. If you look across that line there, if Spurs continue their form over the next 5 games, you could have 5 clean sheets. So I could end up doubling up on, if Vicario, do I keep him in? That's the question. But I think Vicario's got enough saves in there. As you can see here, he picked up 9 points over the last 2 games, 18 points overall. I should have stuck with him. When I did my first draft, but obviously, you know how it is. And then going into the midfield, if we look at there, I'll just quickly flick on for my midfielder choice, for my little square graphic above. I've got Semenyo in there. I think they've got a pretty healthy few games coming up. A struggling Newcastle, a struggling Brighton, Leeds and Fulham. Tottenham away is a bit of a different one, but I think Semenyo looks very good this year. He looks almost like a video game player where he's just his stature's massive and he just bullies people out of the way. Gakpo I'm sticking with, absolutely buzzing. I've gone with him over Salah. He has been fantastic, got an assist at the weekend. I think he also picked up maybe something else as well. Got 2 assists at the weekend, even should I say. He got a goal in the previous week against Bournemouth. I think he's been fantastic. Liverpool, Burnley and Everton coming up, Crystal Palace. I don't think I'll get defenders in for Liverpool because they seem to be conceding a lot, but going forward, they are lethal. I've then gone for a bit of a rogue one, Grealish. He's impressed me this weekend, and I think with Wolves, Villa, and West Ham and Crystal Palace, 3 of which are at home, and then obviously Liverpool in between, which could be a great derby, I think he looks fantastic. And the assists, him and Tyler Dibbling going in there as well, Dewsbury Hall, maybe even replacing Beto up front with Ndiaye and then letting other players come in and be a bit more of an attacking threat, a bit more transitional. I think he looks really good, Jack Grealish, and Everton look pretty solid. So I do like the look of them against Wolves as well. They're going to be massive for them, hopefully, in that game. Brennan Johnson, as you can see above me, he is my way into that Tottenham side for the attacking sort of positions. So as you can see here from his full profile, you can see a few goals in there, 2 goals, defensive contributions of a 9, so might pick up some here and there if he has to be a defensive asset. But as I said, those next 5 games, you can see goals galore, can't you? So I've gone for him over Richarlison for now. I could always bring Richarlison in, but I think my striker options are pretty decent. And then I've gone for Ndoye because I really want to find a way into the Nottingham Forest side because they do have West Ham, Burnley and Sunderland in the next 4 games. So I think Ndoye looked very good. His header against Brentford was fantastic. He played pretty well against Palace. The assist was just a thump forward, but he's getting assists, he's getting expected goal contribution involvement is pretty decent. So, he's overperforming that at the moment, but I think he's going to be consistent. If he doesn't perform, again, I can try and have a look at Wood, try and have a look at the other players, and then I've also got 2 million to play with in my budget if I want to try and go for a bit more of a premium midfielder. So then it goes on to my strikers. Now, I've gone for a big change in my strikers, a massive change. João Pedro is a must. I've decided. I didn't think he would be, but when Cole Palmer didn't play and he dropped a little bit deeper, which I think they'll allow him to do a bit more going forwards, he looked phenomenal. And Fulham coming up, who look shaky at the back. Brentford, who I think look shaky at the back. United, who just seem to be conceding 1 goal a game every so often now. And then Brighton, who looks shaky as well. I think that's a nice 5 games, and you've got a difficult game against Liverpool, which Chelsea could try and get over, but then a nice run in as well. So he's a pretty secure pick until game week 12 now. And what I like about him is dead cheap, and he's budged up a little bit. I've managed to get him in before he went up to that 7.6 million, but he's only going to get higher, so I can always try and get more money behind me. Then in between there, obviously Haaland. I'm sticking with Haaland. I want to stick with City because I think the Tottenham game was a bit of a blip. I don't think they expected Tottenham to press as much. I think they've got strength up front. It's just allowing those players to release themselves and getting players forwards a bit more and progressing them. Like Reinders didn't take the ball in his stride, and Haaland is very difficult against the 2 centre backs at Tottenham, and plus Palhinha in there as well. He's a fantastic central defensive midfielder. I think they're just very solid at the back now, Tottenham. Thomas Frank showing his excellence, but they've got Brighton, then they've got United. Arsenal will be a difficult game. Burnley, then Brentford. I'm sort of sticking in with him until around about the Burnley game, I think. Burnley and Brentford will be a telling sign, and then it might be worth getting rid if Haaland is not going to reap the rewards because he's a premium buy. If I get rid of him, I could start looking at other players elsewhere, and I know that perhaps Cole Palmer might be the one for that. So the last one I've gone for, and it's a controversial one. It's the most uncontroversial pick ever, actually. Ekitike for 8.7 million now. I've managed to get him in for the 8.6 because I did do the transfer before his price got hiked again. Now then, he has got a goal, 2 goals and an assist over the last 2 games. 20 points, 5 bonus points. As I say, I reckon against Arsenal he'll get a goal because Arsenal, as much as they look great going forward, like defending, I think they could leak a goal. And with how I saw United playing, especially with United, not being as great, if they had the finishing capability of an Ekitike, of a Salah, of a Gakpo, someone going forward like that, I reckon they would cause mayhem. So I reckon they'll get a goal against them. Burnley will be a free-for-all. Everton will be a very interesting game. And then Palace, again, I think will be tired after the Conference League, all them games going on in a very thin squad. Then they've got Chelsea. So I think Liverpool for now, Ekitike is a pretty decent buy. Again, Tottenham, I could try and look at moving players around, but my wildcard has been played, and then my team for this week is looking like this for now. So I have got Vicario in there. I'm going to stick with him for now, I think. I think I will anyway. Matty Cash in there because Crystal Palace don't look particularly brilliant. I think Aston Villa are defensively sound enough that I believe, they conceded 1 against Brentford. I don't think they'll concede 1 against Palace. I don't see Palace doing too well. They were a bit shaky, Palace, at the weekend against Forest. Then Van der Ven obviously in there, De Ligt in there because he plays Burnley. Grealish in there against Wolves, I reckon he'll do really well. Johnson in there because he's been in great form. Gakpo as well because he's been in great form. And then Ndoye against West Ham. Got to try and get a Nottingham Forest representative in my team. João Pedro's in there as my vice-captain against Fulham. Haaland against Brighton, I reckon he will cause mayhem. They are conceding lots of goals, Brighton. And that is the key, I think, because if we just have a quick look at what they did against Everton, player stats-wise, actual expected goals conceded for Brighton was 1.21, yeah. Everton 2.43, but I think Brighton look pretty bad at the back. Whiff is pretty decent. But overall, like Verbruggen, Dunk, Van Hecker, Hinchel, Woods getting in there a little bit with Belieber, but I just don't rate them that much, to be honest. Brighton at the back, I don't think they've got a strong side. I've said this at the beginning of the season. I reckon Haaland will do a bit of damage against them if he can. Then I've got Ekatike in there as well. So Haaland's my captain. It could go all wrong. Sanchez in there, Semenyo. I think in the next game week, City play United. So I don't know what I'll do there. I want to play my bench boost as soon as possible, but I know United are a bit here and there. I might see how De Ligt plays. I can obviously bring him out, but in my next game week, I'll have West Ham against Tottenham. I'll have Everton against Aston Villa. Liverpool obviously play Burnley. Chelsea play Brentford. City play United. Liverpool, as I say, play Burnley, and Forest play Arsenal. So, and then at Bournemouth also actually play Brighton, and we've also got Aston Villa versus Sunderland. So, if I choose to maybe because I think I'll still have my 2 free substitutions that I didn't use in my previous game week, so because I've used my wildcard this week, they should carry over. I should be able to change those players around. So I might be playing my bench boost next week. It depends how good this team actually performs, but I think this looks solid from the defensive contributions at the back, the clean sheet capability of Vicario and Sanchez. The midfield looks very creative in Grealish and in Ndoye, but also lethal in Johnson and Gakpo and the likes of Semenyo. And up front, obviously, they're my main forwards. João Pedro looks on form. Haaland's clinical every year, and Ekatike looks brilliant going forwards, always going to contribute in that final third. So that's how I've done it. That's how I'm going to run it this week. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. 302 sub-managers, smashed my goal of 300 by the end of the year, already by the end of August, which is fantastic. So thank you guys for all the support. Hope you did enjoy this episode. A little bit later than 6:30 today. I've ranted on a bit longer than I wanted to, but hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, as ever, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Our next goal, 350. Let's try and hit that goal as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy this new webcam. It's a bit more a bit more. You can see my face better. HD. I think we're in the 1920s here now. We're in HD. We're not in 4K. We're in HD for now. Anyway, so maybe a bit too much detail on this face. Anyway, let's put it that way. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next one. From me, Alex. Have a great day. Ciao.